But if you want to be a drunk fan, then go buy a ticket. Okay? But if you want to play, then you need to be there to play. You need to have some kind of pride in what you do, because the program that you represent is about way more than you. It's about people that came 100 years before you to set this idea of winning football game. I got some things to address, and we got to address it, because you just can't let stuff slide when you just keep hearing absolutely just unfactual stuff. I can't take it, and I know I should just let it go, because it really don't matter, but it's got to be addressed. Here, these are some sayings. These are some notes, and these are some things that we get from some fans. So it's going to be a nice little round table topic here. Things Alabama fans say. You got to be a little tougher on them kids from the South. So basically, you're kind of assuming that if the coach is not from the South, that you can't coach or win in the SEC. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but more than half the coaches in the SEC are not Southern boys. Okay, so that theory is out. Okay, that's Nick Saban was from up on the pretty kind of East Coast, not from the South. Okay, coal mine town like West Virginia. Okay, so that's out. Okay, and also, you got to be tough like the Saban was on them and how he yelled and got on them. And I got a theory about that. And please comment over there. I'd be glad to take anybody's response. Number one, they're different people. Okay. And two, the positions that they coach are different. And if you've played or you've been around coaches or you've coached some, you kind of know. It just seems like most of the time, I just think about it. If you've played or coached or been around it, just think. What I'm going to say just think for 2 seconds and then give me your thought. Defensive coaches, especially like defensive line, linebacker coaches, and just overall defensive coaches, they're a little more wound up, a little more wild in their coaching. Use a little more animated and that type of stuff. Your offensive coach is like a quarterback coach, a guy that's kind of an offensive guy that calls plays. They're usually they're more level-headed thinking. They're kind of more into their zone and what they're doing and thinking about the next play. Defensive guys just thinking about getting after your tail and lighting your hair on fire and going there and go crazy. Just think about it. And when you see DeBoer at practice, him, because he's not throwing his hat, doesn't mean that he don't care. So we gotta move on from that. Okay, it's the first game of the year. Now, the standards at Bama has, that's been the big comment, the standard at Alabama. And I made the comment Sunday that I would have been happy just to see Alabama play to a regular standard of general football, just generic football standard. Bama standard, whatever, it's Nick Saban standard. And he's not there anymore. Since you bring that up, let's go back in time a little bit and remember. I remember on the media after they had won it there in 20 and then coming back in 21 and 2. I remember some things on the news about some players and some players kind of getting in a little bit of trouble. And I remember their players wearing headphones in pregame. So a kid holding his phone in his hand with his earbuds in, listen to music. It's not a big deal. So that's just stupid. But, there was this thing about, it was Nick losing his touch. And then that last year we've seen him just pretty much run down, look mentally drained in the South Florida game in the rain. He just looked like a wet rat out there. He was just lost and confused and felt disorganized. And I've kind of thought, in retrospect, that after winning at 20, Miss Terry probably said, Nick, you may want to, it's time, man. Okay. All right, honey, you need to hang around the house here. But Bama ain't had a first-round defensive big-time line, pass rusher in years and years, and that's on Coach Roach. He's the defensive line coach. He's been there. They're like this new staff the board brought in, so they suck. Well, that's topic 3 there. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the offense coach either, but your defense coach actually wrote, Freddie, he played at Alabama. There's still guys on the staff that coached at Alabama. And again, we'll move to the next one, but I remember clearly people saying the dynasty's over, it's fallen, and is Nick at the end of the road, and players, somebody that don't respect him, and unwanted penalties. They were the most penalized team. It's so easy for people to forget. I don't know. It's like fans just go nuts and their brains go short and they forget. Alabama they were the most penalized team in the SEC. I don't know if it's 21 and 22, but it was one of those years. I don't think it was both, but the penalties, man, the penalties. I mean, if without the Gravedigger play, just think of this: without this miracle last Iron Bowl, they only win 9 games. Now, who's going to be, throw up the pitchforks and light the hay on fire if Saban went 9-4? Because that's what it would have been. I don't even know how it would have turned out. What would their season win if they'd lost that Iron Bowl? Have you thought about that? People they forget so quickly that Nick Saban he's won so many games. They put him up on this shelf that he's like that mythical guy that, could never do wrong. That we always have a local legend or something. He hit that ball 742 feet. I seen him hit it out in the river over there one day. And honestly, he just hit it over the fence, but it was a huge hit. And the story gets stretched and stretched and stretched to where it's like Nick Saban never done wrong. The players never did videos. The players never danced. The players never had fun. I know his commercial says no fun. It's in the rules. It's right here. See, no fun. I know that's in the commercial, the Verbro commercial, but that's not real. So stop comparing. And Nick Saban was human too. And towards the end, he lost his staff, and the players things had just started changing, man. That 2020 title was probably the last of kind of an era, of football. NIL collectives bargainings had changed. There had already been portal stuff, but now kind of guys are starting to get where they were just going to move whenever. But, now they have 2 days that they can leave. So we got to get over that standard at Alabama. It has dipped. It's been dipped since when Nick was there. It had been dipping. Sources say, this is the last part of it, and we'll talk about some games. This is from sources, and some of you probably already heard this. Friday night into the early morning hours of Saturday, down in Tallahassee, that some of the players had Grubhub in and had girls in the room at 2 a.m. So if you want to be a drunk fan, players, and I know none of their players are watching this, honestly, they shouldn't be. They need to be getting their mind right for the game. But if you want to be a drunk fan, then go buy a ticket. Okay? But if you want to play, then you need to be there to play. You need to have some kind of pride in what you do, because the program that you represent is about way more than you. It's about people that came 100 years before you to set this idea of winning football games. And it comes with a huge part of putting on that crimson jersey and the helmet. There has to be some kind of sense of pride. And not all the guys I know on the team are from the state, but guys, they did a grade out like they do every game, this Pro Football Focus. All of the board, all the guys that come with him, all graded like the highest in their regard where they are. Then Saban's guys did that. So what does that mean then? It means that the guys that are DeBoers that come with him, they respect him. They played for him. They understand what he's trying to do. They know that he has their best intent and heart, that he wants to win. Why would he want to go lose games? That's just crazy. So why is his players doing so well, but then these other guys are not? We've seen guys jogging from Hubbard to Lawson. We've seen these guys jogging around. I told Dean during the game, I said, they look like they're drunk. Was these guys up drinking all night? And he said, "Why, surely not. I mean, they had a game. It's 2:30 game too. I mean, this." And I told a story Sunday about them finding Russell's wallet down there on Bourbon Street. Paul Feinbaum found it at 11 mid-clock or midnight or something. He was in a bar passed out, the quarterback at LSU when Bama played them in the rematch for the title game. He knew then. He picked Alabama to win. He said, "Damn guys ain't ready. We done beat them one time." So it seems to me, lastly, to wrap this up, they went out, super huge big head. This guy, they won 2 games last year. Obviously, they didn't do any studying like I did because it didn't take me about 30, 40 minutes to find out all the players they had and hit the portal and got all these new players and new coaches. That's not the 2-win team. That team that beat Alabama is not the 2-win team that last year. Those guys, that team did not lose 10 games last year. They're all spread out and graduated. And when they come out and scored first, and then Florida State scored, and then they try to go back down, and things that kind of go, Florida State bowed up. They bowed their neck, and their fans got fired up. And that's a tough place to play. And McCarron standing there on the sideline said it was rocking in there. They were fired up because that's the last point I wrote down here. Bama's Super Bowl. It was rocking down there. Bama took them for granted. Seemed like they had a little too much fun the night before. And everybody that plays Bama is going to give it their all. That's what I made the quote of. If they're still rushing the field, then you're still relevant. When they quit rushing the field, when you lose a game and they don't rush the field, you suck. I mean, we just put it straight, as plain as I can put it. Your program's trash. If they beat you and they don't rush the field, it's crap. That's Florida State's Super Bowl. They had nothing to lose, nothing. Those are dangerous teams, man. They won 2 games last year. He cleans house, all new players, all new coaching staff. If they lose, well, it's Alabama. The media's going to come out and say, well, he gave it a good try, and Bama goes in and wins 36-21, or 36-30. And Florida State put up a decent fight. Coach Norvell probably have a good year this year. But that ain't what happened because these guys do not understand it. And maybe the staff don't. I want to assume he's a grown man that the staff, DeBoer, and these guys understand everybody that lines up on that schedule this Saturday. If you don't think Coach Vincent at La Monroe don't want to beat Alabama, you're crazy. You're nuts. This guy coached under Coach Clark at UAB. I did a whole breakdown on him Tuesday. You can go back and watch that show. This is a good football team. The receiver, Griffin, the McReynolds kid that runs the ball and catches out of the backfield, the Armani quarterback. This guy's a Coach Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year. If you don't, last year he was Sun Belt Conference, I think the first ever. So if you don't think that Coach Vincent, that coached with Bill Clark at UAB, and he coached with Coach Womack at South Alabama, first they know each other, and you don't think he wants to get one over on his old buddy, you're crazy. It's everybody's Super Bowl, man. When other people schedule and they go down and find Bama, they circle that game. Other fans don't want to tell you that because they're haters and they're jealous because every other team hates Alabama because they win. They're jealous and they don't want Bama to win no more. They're sick of them winning. They're sick of the news headlines talking about them. They're sick of hearing about Saban, and they're just obsessed with Alabama losing. They can't even enjoy their own programs. And now you thought Saban retired. Golly, I can get back to watching my team, Missouri, or I can start focusing in on Georgia again, or Auburn, or No, they come out and have a good year last year, beat the brakes off LSU and Georgia. They're 2 big rivals, and thumped Auburn and made their players nearly pretty much quit. People hate Alabama, and every time you go on that schedule, that's their Super Bowl. That's the game they want to win more than any game. So all this stuff just adds up to one thing. It's the first game. They have to take a little more pride in their program and what they're doing. And it don't take a Southern guy to coach a team. Why? What? This is not 1954, Bear Bryant coming from Kentucky and going to Bama in 57. This is not then. But you had to have connections so you can go in the living room and sell yourself to a mom to make sure that you're going to take care of her kid. And back then, Coach Bryant had to make sure he told Mama that the boys going to be at church on Sunday and they're going to be at practice on Monday through Thursday and do their walkthroughs Friday and play football Saturday. There's the internet now, people. What are you talking about? Name the guys in the SEC that are from the South. I ain't going to go through all of them because I'm ready to move on. But the one, there's not that many. I know Billy's from down here, and we know Kirby is. Lane is not. Sark's not. Coach Pittman is from the Midwest. Brian Kelly's not. Heupel's not. I mean, he's a Midwest guy. Coach Beamer. Coach Lee is not. He's from up that way too. I mean, he may count him for the South. But the greatest coach to coach of all time, he's from up on the East Coast. He's from West Virginia area, man. Well, he ain't from the South. He can't get after these Southern boys. He can't talk to them like they need to be talked to. Coaching's coaching. So that means a coach can't come from another state or somewhere and coach. Come on, man. That's just crazy. And the standard at Bama had been slipping because there was people on the news all the time. They were worried, but they was trying to be respectful of Nick and not say, I think it looks bad. Because they would try to be respectful to him because of the time and that he's put into it. There was people talking about the penalties. They were the most penalized team in the SEC. They were one of the top penalized teams. I remember like in the first 3, 4, 5 games of the season, Alabama led the nation in penalties. Satan's letting stuff slide over there. He's done got soft. He's pawpaw now. So, guys, stuff y'all are saying online, and I don't get as many views as all them other people do, so only probably 1,000 people will see this, where 4,000 or 5,000 will see these other gumps that, talk Alabama and just bringing up these topics like, well, by God, when Saban was there, stuff wasn't happening. Yes, it was. You're just saying stuff so you're just going along with the flow of everybody else so you can just get clicks and likes. I don't do this show for clicks and likes. I do it because I love the game and I just like interacting and talking with people. That's not the only reason I do it. It's just to get some likes. If I did, I'd just do like they do and just agree with everything. Yeah, that's what they do. We're just a computer. We have no opinion. We just go along with everybody. Nick Saban never let anything ever happen wrong. No kid even farted in their classroom seats when they were at Alabama. Nick Saban never let it happen. Shut up. We got to stop that crap. That's just stupid. It's stupid.